The Balloon Roundup started officially around 1997, but the balloon's been coming here from probably about 10 years before that. It started with a group of Seattle pilots who came over just for fun, and when we moved here in 1997, the Chamber of Commerce asked us to try to organize it a little more. So we turned it into a balloon fest. When we go to launch a balloon, it's a bit of a process. It really only takes us anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes to get ready for flight. But we'll start by unloading the equipment out on the field. We pull all the fabric out of the bag, and then the process begins. After we've hooked up the fabric to the basket, we turn on an inflator fan. And what that fan does is it fills the balloon fabric up with just cold air. And after about 15 to 20 minutes, it looks like a big balloon that's tipped over on its side. Once I have it to the size I want, and we call it cold inflated, I crawl into the basket, or the pilot does, whoever's flying that day, and we fire up the burners, and we point this big flame into the balloon. And that heats the air, and then the balloon rises up, and it's standing ready for launch. And then we hop in and we go up. Another thing we do before we take off is we really have to be careful about what the weather's doing. When you learn to fly a balloon, you become a meteorologist as well. So we're very careful about how strong the winds are that day, if there's any cold fronts coming in, what the cloud ceiling's going to be. So once we're in the air, again, we're always looking at the weather, but we're literally just drifting with the wind. And people are always asking us, how do you steer a balloon? And I don't have a steering wheel on it, and I can't steer it per se, but what I can do is take it up to any elevation I want. So what we do is fly to different levels in the air, and we look for different winds in different directions. It amazes people how many different layers of wind there are at the different elevations. Part of the adventure, not knowing exactly where we're going to be. I started ballooning in 1990. I had met Melinda, my wife, who partners with me in flying these things. She runs the ground show and I run the air show, so it's a wonderful match. Yeah, landing is always fun. We're limited in how long we can fly based on the amount of fuel we have. So personally, I'm always looking for a landing site as soon as I take off. But we like to fly for an hour plus, and then when it comes time to land, someone says, "What's your favorite place to land?" And I say, "Anywhere I can get the truck to the balloon," because all that equipment weighs just under 1,000 pounds. The trick to landing the balloon is to pick out your site, make sure your winds are calm, and you just make a descent. So I know we had a fun landing at the fest. We landed right at the airport, and we sort of set the standard, and everybody else came in right behind us. So probably one of the most important parts of ballooning is your balloon crew, and it's really hard to set up and take down a balloon all by yourself, so they're a real critical part of the operation. Once we land, we let all the air out of the balloon by pulling a rope and venting the air out the top, and then one of the crew members pulls the balloon down, and it takes us about 5 to 10 minutes to squeeze the air out, and another 5 to 10 minutes to pack it up in a bag.
Pack it up for tomorrow.
And then once we have it all in the bag, we load it on the truck, and then we head back to our field and usually have a picnic. Isn't that right? Every year at the Balloon Roundup, we have the night glow, balloon glow it's called, but we call it the night glow. And what we do is we set the balloons up right in the middle of the street at downtown Winthrop. We get the okay from the town, and the fun part about that is when we add the heat to the balloons, you have this big flame, and because it's dark out, the balloon glows. So it's just a really cool photo opportunity. We don't fly the balloon there, we just sort of sit, and it gives people a great opportunity to walk up close to the balloon and get some pretty unusual photos. It was pretty interesting this year because we were set up, and it was a real good example of how calm we needed the winds to be, because there was a small squall out by Mazama, and it brought a little bit of rain and it brought a little bit of wind, and we got blown over. But it was no harm done. The balloons just deflated, and we just squeezed them out in the street and ran in and called it a night. Well, one of the nice parts about flying here in the Met Howe is that it's really balloon friendly. We have a lot of nice big open fields, not to mention beautiful scenery, but the landowners are really important. When we have our balloon festival, we have anywhere, like I said, 15 to 20 balloons flying and looking for a place to land. And the landowners of the valley here have just been great.